In Miami tonight, there is a buzz around town. And outside of Marlins Park, fans are coming in. The best team in baseball, the hottest team in baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers are here. It's a 4-game series. Yasiel Puig, Jose Fernandez, Hyun-Jin Ryu, the Korean sensation, here as well. As the Fish and the Dodgers meet first of 4. And look who's back in the house, Hanley Ramirez. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to Miami, or should I say, welcome to Little Havana, because that's significant tonight, Tommy Hutton, and that's why there's the buzz here. Not only the Dodgers, but also Jose Fernandez on the mound, Yasiel Puig in the house.
Well, there are a couple of things that'll hook you into this game. You have Jose Fernandez pitching, and you have one of the hottest, if not the hottest team in the major leagues, the Dodgers. They're 42-9 their last 51 games.
Let's start with Yasiel Puig, because that's where the Dodgers seemed to start when he showed up.
You know, ever since Puig showed up, his reckless abandon type play has just sent them on a tremendous winning streak. He does a little bit of everything, at times a little bit too much, but he has power, he has speed, and you see what he's done as far as rookies are concerned. If he continues to do that, just a tremendous shot for Puig to become Rookie of the Year.
Well, Jose Fernandez is a rookie, just like Puig, and they're both Cuban. He's a very different personality, and he goes against the Dodgers. And for Fernandez, what a run he's been on, especially since the 1st of June.
You know, one of the nice things about Jose Fernandez, the Marlins in his last 13 starts are 10-3, so that means he's pitched well enough to help his club win games. The ERA has been tremendous. He has not lost a game at home. He's 5-0 in his starts at Marlins Park.
And he's in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, and so is this man in our Coventry Healthcare matchup. Hyun-Jin Ryu out of Korea. Cost a lot of money for the Dodgers, but it's paying off.
Yeah, about $26 million posting fee to sign Ryu. The left-hander hasn't disappointed. You see all the strikeouts, good curveball, pretty good fastball, excellent changeup. The Marlins saw him in L.A., gave up just 5 hits in a run in his 6+ innings.
Picked a good night to be here with us tonight as the Marlins and the Dodgers go at it. When we get back, Hanley Ramirez, how's he doing in Los Angeles? Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine will discuss. let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Rich Waltz. Good evening again, everybody. The Dodgers are in town. People have been talking about them for a while now, coming in, and how the Marlins going to match up. No one's having much success against them. They've won 42 of 51. And back is our old friend Hanley Ramirez, who obviously left the Marlins on not very good terms in terms of he did not play very good baseball toward the end of his run here after being superlative before that. But he looks to be back in form here, Jeff.
Well, on limited production so far this year. He's only played in 59 games. Big injury coming out of the World Baseball Classic, tore up his thumb, had an injury during the season, I think, with his hamstring. So he's been limited to just 59 games, but he's been doing some serious damage in those games.
He really has. You see his numbers here, 12 homers, 39 RBIs. He's slugging .619 since the return in early June from that injury, and that leads the National League. I talked with Hanley about his return here tonight. Love to. Hanley, first of all, you're having a great season. Everything is falling into place for you, it looks like.
I mean, yeah, I'm healthy, and thanks God, body feels good, and, just really happy to be here.
Back in Miami, does it feel different this year?
Definitely, Miami also going to be my home. But what can I say, it is what it is, and, now in LA, and really happy, and, keep moving forward.
How good is this team, Hanley? It's insane, 42-9.
I can't tell you, but you're gonna have to find out yourself. We just try to go out there and compete every day and have fun.
42-9.
And I just like every other day, we just try to go out there and get for that win at the end of the night.
Big errors yesterday. He's got 10 in the 59 games. They were both in the ninth inning, and the final one led to the walk-off win on the error for the Phillies. But the Dodgers have won 10 straight. They could take a loss here, Jeff, as they look forward to getting back on track against the Fish.
Yeah, and on the road, they're 19-2 over the last 21 games. I mean, they're a juggernaut right now. They just can't lose.
All right, we'll see. Tonight, though, they'll have to match up with Jose Fernandez, and certainly one of the most intriguing matchups for Jose in his young career. It's start number 24 for Miami's Cuban defector. He'll take on a very famous Cuban defector already in Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers. Good matchup, East versus West. Rich and Tommy, next.
Rip, north side, G-trip, east side, banging it, south side, slaying it. Seems strange when you see them outside of daydreams. Memories, changes bringing out emotions, but I got nothing left up in me. Where you see there's nothing left. Life is too silly, plus where's the meaning? Killing, I'm up on the glass ceiling. Depth of weights are ready in the willing. Lower class struggle, got the opportunity to juggle, but it's mind over muscle. I'll die working another hustle. Time worth the brain, it plays a mean head game.
And here he is, walking right into your living room. Jose Fernandez to the mound. Marlins and Dodgers ready to go. Game one, a long 4-game series, opens on a Monday night in Little Havana in Miami, as the Fish and the Dodgers see each other for the second time this year. Here come the Dodgers. Jan Lexus brings them to you. Don Mattingly's group extremely hot. A historic run by the Dodgers to go to 72-51. Speedy Carl Crawford in left. Yasiel Puig is in right. Adrian Gonzalez driving in runs at first. Hanley Ramirez at short. Andre Ethier in center. Remember, Matt Kemp is on the DL, but the Dodgers haven't missed a beat. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. Juan Uribe has been reborn and is hitting. He's at third. Go Gator. Mark Ellis is at second base and hits 8th. And young Jin Ryu hits 9th. There's Carl Crawford, finally healthy and finally in the leadoff spot. The Dodgers happy to have him there. Jose Fernandez at 21 takes aim at baseball's hottest team.
Well, he did face the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium back in May. Gave up a 3-run homer to Adrian Gonzalez in the first inning, but settled down, didn't give up anything after that. Picked up the win in that game. So the Dodgers have seen him before, but boy, has he pitched extremely well at home. In this ballpark, Jose Fernandez, 5-0, a 1.39 ERA in his 11 starts.
And so here come the Dodgers. Pinch-A-Penny brings you the first pitch. And Fernandez uncorks a fastball that misses out. John Hirschbeck calling balls and strikes with Quinn Walcott, James Hoy, Jim Reynolds, the umpiring trio for tonight. Crawford, the Tommy John surgery limited his duty last year, and of course he essentially felt like a throw-in with the Dodgers taking a contract when he came over from the Red Sox. But here he is now, starting and in left field.
These guys have so many stars, Rich, the Dodgers do, that you forget sometimes about Carl Crawford and the resume that he brings as a leadoff hitter.
And Fernandez walks him on 4 pitches. Crawford, an accomplished base stealer, now at first base. Here's the defense brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Well, as you look at the defense, keep your eye on Adeiny Echeverria. He's the only guy who started a game at Dodger Stadium. Everyone else either wasn't here or was on the disabled list, with the exception of Jose Fernandez, of course. Jeff Mathis behind the plate, and the Marlins are 4 games over 500 when he catches.
Here is Puig, and he goes after a fastball at 97 miles an hour. It's 0-1. Puig is solidly built. 6'3", 245. A guy that had the great debut. First 5 games, 4 home runs, 44 hits in June. And the Dodgers took off like a rocket. Crawford not going anywhere. And Fernandez pumps it up to 99 miles an hour. Jeff Conine on Marlins Live had a good point. As you see Don Mattingly hopeful that Fernandez learned from that much hype start in St. Pete, where he threw hard but didn't throw well. That was close.
You know, I think he did, and I think the example would be the All-Star game. Pitching on that stage and having the kind of inning, the 1-2-3 inning he had.
That's a great point. Counts 1-1. Puig, a massive on-base percentage and slugging percentage.
We cooled off a little bit in Philadelphia. The Dodgers coming off that series, winning 2 out of 3 in Philly. He was 2 for 12.
I'll tell you what, Fernandez is really going after him. He threw 98. His other pitch was 99. It's almost like, hey, I know you're from Cuba. They chatted before the ball game behind the batting cage, and he's gone nothing but heat, high heat, in the first 3 pitches of the at-bat.
Well, and as to what Niner was talking about in that game in Tampa, in St. Petersburg, we saw probably in the first inning the hardest fastballs we've seen Jose throw all year. And that was it after the first inning.
Puig slugging .567, 16 doubles, 11 homers. And a little dribbler down the first baseline and an off-speed pitch. And all of that has come, Tommy, in just 66 games.
Well, he's already had 10 3-hit games during that time. He is a physical specimen, still learning how to play the game, because he'll run himself into outs, he'll overthrow bases, but then he'll make a great play.
Fernandez ready. Breaking ball. Puig got it off the end of the bat. Back goes Lucas. Echeverria calls him off and makes the catch. So he went heat and then breaking balls. Gets the out. Crawford still at first. And here comes Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah, we talked about Echeverria in the lineup at Dodger Stadium. The outfield wasn't there. Stanton was on the DL. Everybody else still in the minor leagues. Lucas had still not been called up. Solano was hurt. Lomo was on the DL. Mathis was on the DL. Olivo caught a couple of those games. Nick Green started 2 of those games. One at second, one at first. So it's a big change out there.
Adrian Gonzalez climbs in. Gonzalez, of course, part of that Red Sox-Dodger trade last year. And one of the biggest pieces, maybe the biggest piece, coming from Boston to Los Angeles. A Southern California guy, of course, a Padre for a long time. Raised in San Diego. Last year, a career low slugging percentage for Gonzalez. But he's been solid this year. He takes away 25 doubles, 16 homers.
That was the changeup. We talked about Gonzalez hitting that home run off Jose in the first inning in L.A. So many characters, a lot of flashy players on the Dodgers, and you have the very calm, the very steady, the very talented Adrian Gonzalez.
Crawford bluffs. It's a called strike, and here's a look back to that series, which seems like a year ago.
It really does. Pitch out over the plate. Looked like it might have been the changeup. And a guy who's hit a whole lot of home runs. He leads the Dodgers in hits, home runs, and RBIs.
The impressive thing about that ball game for Fernandez is after that home run, no more. He went 6 innings, and those were the only 3 runs he gave up. And he misses down low with a fastball. Hanley Ramirez is on deck. The trade that the Dodgers and the Red Sox pulled off. The Dodgers took big names and huge salaries. Gonzalez is signed through 18, $126 million. Crawford signed through 17, $103 million. But Tommy, it also allowed the Red Sox, as Gonzalez has walked, it allowed the Red Sox to get out from under a lot of those salaries, Beckett as well. And Boston has rebuilt and retooled and finds themselves in great shape.
And we remember when that trade took place because the Marlins were in L.A. when they all arrived.
You hear the reception for Hanley Ramirez. This is not his first game at Marlins Park as a Dodger. The Dodgers came in late last year after the Marlins and the Dodgers swapped. The Marlins shortstop, longtime shortstop, Ramirez 7 years as a Marlin.
We talked about how Jeff Mathis has those well-timed visits to the mound, and this is one of them. He maybe sees his young right-handers a little hyped up. Not too often has Jose started a game where he's walked 2 in the first inning.
Before the ballgame, we were talking about Mathis on the air, about his influence on the pitching staff. He has not a bigger supporter than the man holding the baseball on the mound right now, Jose Fernandez. He absolutely loves Mathis. And look, with good reason. His catcher's ERA is the best in the National League. He's 5th in throwing percentage. Hanley Ramirez with a swing and a miss. He's thrown out 37.5%.
And for a team that is 47 and 75 when Mathis catches, they're 4 games over 500.
Significant stuff. But the 21-year-old in some trouble here with runners first and second and just 1 out. 0-1 pitch to Hanley. And he dribbles it up the third base line. Ramirez directly involved in a loss yesterday, a pair of errors in the bottom of the 9th, and the Phillies would walk off with a win. Of course, there's the history. There's no denying he put up enormous numbers, a 3-time All-Star.
And he was not in the lineup. He was on the disabled list when the Marlins were in Los Angeles.
Remnants of that injury in the World Baseball Classic. Counts 0-2. Andre Ethier is on deck. Another breaking ball.
Well, Jose Fernandez has thrown Hanley Ramirez 3 consecutive breaking balls.
That's a hard-earned baseball there. The photographer took that one right in the hand. Let's hope she's okay. Eleni does great work. In fact, we use many of her shots in the video montages in and out of innings. So she's part of the crew, Tommy. She's part of the crack staff.
Part of the crack staff. Hope she's all right. Might need to get her some ice down there.
And John Tuitu next time might want to go to his left a little bit, knock that ball down.
Yeah. Get some ice for Tui.
Still 0-2 to Hanley Ramirez.
Dodgers are making Jose Fernandez work. 18 pitches already with just 1 out.
Only 9 strikes in those 18 pitches. Breaking ball, fly ball. Marisnick tracking it. Makes the catch. And so Fernandez has 2 outs, but he still has another good hitter to get, Andre Ethier.
That's the one thing that we have really enjoyed watching Fernandez. Look at Jeff Mathis. Okay, way outside. Give that breaking ball outside. Make him chase it. Off the end of the bat for the lazy fly ball. But we've seen Jose Fernandez, for a 21-year-old, in many of the games he was 20, adjust during a game, during an inning even, make adjustments.
What a luxury for the Dodgers and Don Mattingly that when Matt Kemp goes down, he can slide Ethier to center, Puig to right, Crawford to left, and still have an incredible outfield without one of the most dynamic players in the game in Kemp.
And this is a guy who has just torn apart the Marlins over his career. Extremely solid player. But Andre Ethier, 7 home runs, a .395 career average against the Marlins.
Captain of the Fish Killer team. Outside corner. If you need documentation on that, here you go.
Crack staff will provide. So good breaking ball, outstanding fastball, and quickly Jose's ahead 0-2 to Ethier.
There's the breaking ball.
The thing about Jose Fernandez, who has many weapons to strike a hitter out or get a hitter out, especially when he gets ahead, because lefties are even hitting below 200 against him. He can bury that hard slider down on the back foot, or he can go up with one of those 98-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Ethier steps out. Ethier yesterday 2 for 4 with a home run in the loss up in Philly. Got him.
Just like that.
Back foot breaking ball. Strikes out Andre Ethier. So Fernandez leaves 2 on. And when we get back, Giancarlo Stanton and the Fish get a look at Young Jin Ryu. Christian Yelich in the leadoff spot. Donovan Solano had a nice weekend. Giancarlo Stanton showing signs of life. Logan Morrison hits cleanup. Ed Lucas in the 5 spot. Adene Echeverria at short. Jake Marisnick slotted 7th. Jeff Mathis in the 8 spot. And Jose Fernandez still looking for that first big league home run. Hits 9th.
And there is a look at the 26-year-old left-hander. Doesn't waste too much time.
No, right to work, and he gets a strike.
Talked about how Jose Fernandez, the Marlins are 10-3 his last 13 starts. The Dodgers are 9-0 in Ryu's last 9 starts.
There's not a whole lot fancy about Ryu either. You see Yelich's numbers on the season. He was a star in South Korea and at a very young age. He had Tommy John surgery as a teen. This is a guy that early, well before high school, was a natural right-handed pitcher. And then switched to his left hand. Bouncer out to second. Markel, former Gator, flips on over to first. Defense brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Well, and there it is with Carl Crawford, Andre Ethier, Yasiel Puig in the outfield. Tremendous speed out there. Veteran Juan Uribe at third base. Hanley Ramirez. Mark Ellis always steady at second. Adrian Gonzalez, he's won 3 Gold Gloves. And A.J. Ellis behind the plate.
Donovan Solano takes a fastball outside. Solano, just when you think Donovan Solano is going to fade out, all of a sudden he comes to life and starts hitting. Had an RBI double yesterday in the 7th inning. And the Marlins 1-run win over the Giants.
They have 4-game hitting streak, hitting over 400.
He had 5 hits in that weekend series against San Francisco.
Notice how Ryu rocks sideways. You know, a lot of pitchers will stand staring at the batter. He actually looks like he's working from the stretch, and then he rocks kind of sideways before he makes his delivery. There's his changeup.
Well, the Dodgers went to the wallets to get him. $26 million posting fee, $36 million contract, and you add it up, $62 million for this lefty for 6 years. Solano walks, and here comes Stanton,
who he did not face. Of course, he didn't face most of these guys in his start in L.A.
Well, whoever he's faced lately, he's had success against.
Yes, hasn't mattered.
A great 9-start stretch in which the Dodgers have won every game. And here is Stanton. Let's scout Ryu.
And he's been very durable as a pitcher in Korea as well. He's got a swing and miss changeup. Very solid, sound delivery. Yeah, coming off a win against the Mets, he went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, just 1 run.
Stanton, who usually hits the Dodgers well, especially in Los Angeles, takes out.
Giancarlo's got a couple of things working in his favor, I think. He's swung the bat well the last couple of games, seeing the ball a little better, I think. Plus, I think he perks up when the Dodgers come to town.
His hometown team. He's got a 5-game hit streak. Two and 2.
But he's never faced Munshi Ryu.
2-2 coming. It's the breaking ball. And the count's full now, so if the Marlins feel like it and Solano has a decent read on Ryu, he might be on the move.
I think if you've never faced Ryu before, he can be a little sneaky with kind of the short arm delivery that he has.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and he's out by a mile. And that didn't work out too well for the Fish at all. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. 2-1. Scoreless.
Mark Ellis for the Dodgers. And I suspect one thing Jose Fernandez, Jeff Mathis, and Chuck Hernandez talked about between innings was trying to get through on an economy of pitches. 23 pitches in the first inning to get those 3 outs.
Yeah, they probably talked about efficiency. Extending, following through with his pitches. He left a few fastballs up and away to right-handed hitters.
A.J. Ellis, 32-year-old. Who actually has been I want to say a pleasant surprise, because when you grind it out through the minor leagues and get to the big leagues and have success, you've earned it. And that's exactly what A.J. Ellis has done. Pulls a ground ball to short. Echeverria approaches and gets him at first. This is a 4-game series, so Wednesday night you can do the Marlins Crazy Eights promotion. Save up to 60% with the Chevron Crazy 8 offer. Fill up at a participating Chevron and get $8 home run porch or $18 home plate box tickets. Visit your local Chevron or Marlins.com Chevron for details.
It's a good deal.
It is. Here is Jose Uribe, and who would have thought Jose Uribe would be hitting 274? Well, actually move it up from there. He blasts one into left field for a hit. Uribe's bat has been absolutely dormant for the last 2 or 3 years. Ever since he had that great postseason with the Giants in 2010, he's been a disappointment, and an expensive one at that, for the Dodgers. 204 and 11, 191 hitter last year.
We didn't see him much in the series in L.A., but all of a sudden, Yasiel Puig has perked up Uribe too, and his bat.
Pretty soon the mayor of Los Angeles will be crediting Puig for reviving the economy, lowering the crime rate. Mark Ellis takes a strike.
Yeah, Uribe hit a big 3-run homer the other day in Philadelphia.
Mark Ellis takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Of course, Mark Ellis, a former Gator, longtime big leaguer. He's been one of the great fielding second basemen of all time. If you go by fielding percentage as the mark of a great fielding second baseman, the 2 best in baseball history are in the house tonight. Mark Ellis and Placido Polanco. Polanco on the disabled list, the 7-day concussion list, for getting hit in the head against the Giants.
Yeah, initially it was thought that he might not have to go on that 7-day disabled list, but still just not feeling 100%, so best thing to do. Gil Velasquez, veteran utility man, has joined the club.
Uribe at first. Pitch misses away. So Polanco eligible in 5 days. And Velasquez up. We saw Velasquez last year. He can play a little bit of everything. Big fastball, and he struck him out.
Yeah, that was a big fastball. Mark Ellis, a guy who puts the ball in play a lot, wasn't going to touch that one. Just thinking there's another pretty good second baseman in the house as well, and he's over there coaching at first for the Dodgers.
That's a good point.
Davey Lopes.
Here is Ryu, and he can swing it, and he does just that. Marisnik goes back and makes the catch, and the inning is over. Dodgers have stranded 3 through 2. Fernandez liked it. places by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability, 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Just for Men, Mustache and Beard. And by Checkers, Feast On. Marlins Park, the place to be tonight. What a matchup. All the momentum, all the swagger of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Jose Fernandez, right out of the chute, gets the first start in a 4-game set.
And we learned something from Ryu in that first inning. On that 3-2 pitch to Giancarlo, with Solano on the move, he struck him out with a changeup. So if you're a hitter, you're watching, you say, okay, he'll throw that thing anytime.
We also learned something watching him just right now. If you pan down just a little bit, he weighs in at 255.
He's got a little Fernando Valenzuela bulk to him.
Logan Morrison. And Morrison takes a strike. Ed Lucas, Adeiny Echeverria right behind.
Both pitchers, Rich, get it, throw it. Get the sign. They don't waste any time.
There's the breaking ball, and Morrison fouls it off his foot. 6 straight for Morrison. There's a look at Ryu with his jersey hanging out. 6'2", 255, South Korea. Spent 7 years in the Korean baseball organization, Korea's major leagues. Fly ball left field. Crawford can run and slide. Did he get it? Yes, he did. He robs Morrison of a hit.
Yeah, we talked about the speed in the Dodger outfield. Carl Crawford won a Gold Glove in 2010. He can cover a lot of ground. Got there, made the grab, and held on. Got to have speed and quickness to catch up with that.
Ed Lucas. He swings and misses. Adeiny Echeverria to follow. And Ryu goes to 1-1.
Rich, you talked about Ryu's career coming up in the Korean Baseball League. They don't worry too much about pitch counts, I don't think, because his rookie year in 06, he was Rookie of the Year and MVP. He was 19 years old. He was 18-6 with a 2.23 ERA. I don't think they had him on a limit.
No. Especially since he had Tommy John surgery as a teenager.
Yeah.
Counts 3-1 to Lucas. And Ed fouls it back. Lucas coming off a weekend. Yesterday he had 2 hits. He was 2 for 4. Drove in a run. Marlins beat the Giants on a Madison Bumgarner start. That's not easy to do. So they see a second consecutive lefty out of the West in Ryu. Right up the middle. Ellis really good behind the bag, and he makes a terrific play.
You and I were talking before the game. There's so much swagger, so much talented players, guys with a little edge, guys like Hanley, guys like Puig, but then they have the steadiness of a Mark Ellis at second base.
Yeah, out of Rapid City, South Dakota. That takes us to our AT&T Uverse poll question. Has this season Dodgers resurgence surprised you? Hashtag LAD yes. Hashtag LAD no. Echeverria shoots it into right field. That's a foul ball.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if I would have thought they were going to win 42 out of 51, but when we last saw them, they had a whole lot of guys injured, and they did not have Puig. Hanley was on the disabled list.
Now they don't have Kemp, but everybody else is healthy. Rio elevates the fastball and fouls it back. Oh, 0-2. Echeverria is kind of the forgotten Cuban here. With Jose Fernandez and Yasiel Puig stealing most of the headlines and the chatter. Ramirez to first in time to get Echeverria. Hyungjin Ryu. 1-2-3 second. After a bumpy start in the first, without giving up a run, Jose Fernandez worked a rather uneventful second. It's the second time through for the Dodgers. Top of the order, Carl Crawford, Yasiel Puig, Adrian Gonzalez. In the third, in Miami.
Rich, the first three batters, Jose Fernandez threw 9 balls and 5 strikes. The next 6 batters, 2 balls, 19 strikes.
Counts 2-1. Crawford walked on 4 pitches. And that's not something that Jose Fernandez has done a whole lot this year.
You hear the term, he has to finish his pitches. When you see fastballs left up and away to left-handed hitters, he's not finishing his release.
Fernandez just 7 times has walked a hitter on 4 pitches when he wasn't issuing an intentional walk. Two and 2. Of course, the Dodgers, Tommy talked about all the characters that they've got, from Puig to Hanley Ramirez. Well, they've added one.
Yeah, they have.
And he walked in, he wasn't wearing a disguise, though he did have a big beard on. Brian Wilson, the former closer for the San Francisco Giants, after his second Tommy John surgery, is back in the game and is a Dodger. And boy, did he look out of place in Dodger blue in the dugout. Towards the line, Yelich is there, and he makes the catch. There he is. I mean, that just doesn't look right, Craig Minervini, does it?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't, Rich. He looks very strange in Dodger blue because made a name for himself in Northern California, but in a way the two franchises are always linked. The Giants just left town here. The Dodgers coming to town. Both left New York for the 1958 baseball season 55 years ago. Thought we'd look at the history. How have they done since they've gotten to California? In LA, well, the Dodgers better. They've won 5 titles, but the Giants have won 2 finally in the last 3 years. Pennants go to the Dodgers in terms of being in LA. Franchise-wise, though, 7 titles for the Giants, most of them in New York earlier in the 1900s, 6 for the Dodgers, and overall pennants, they're number 1 and 2 in all of baseball history. 22 pennants for the Giants, 21 for the Dodgers. The other thing is the Dodgers haven't lost back-to-back games. It's hard to believe. In 59 games now, going back actually since June 20th, it's 59-year streak, and it was the Giants the last team to have such a streak so long, going 53 games without back-to-back losses. So if the Marlins can tag a loss on the Dodgers here, they'll put them in that company of back-to-back losses. First time in a while. We'll see. Back to you.
Yeah, you're right, Craig. It's been over 2 months. Adrian Gonzalez now, who walked back in the first. Jose Fernandez getting Yasiel Puig on a ground ball out. 2 outs in the third.
We've seen Jose mix in a few more changeups. The last couple of innings, he got Crawford with the fly ball, got him with a changeup. That first pitch there, a changeup to Gonzalez.
Of course, you can't tell Adrian Gonzalez's tale without noting that he was the first overall pick in 2000 by the Marlins. But in that 2003 trading deadline deal sent to Texas, Gether Bina, the piece that came back, and a big piece as the Marlins marched to a world championship. The Rangers then traded him, along with Chris Young, to the Padres, and that's where he really flourished once he got playing time in San Diego, his hometown.
Yeah, you could actually question the Rangers trade more than the Marlins. Oh, Jose Fernandez, we talk so much about his status with rookies, but he leads the Marlins pitching staff in wins, innings pitched, strikeouts.
He's 3-1 on Gonzalez.
There's a nice weapon to have, to drop in a nice 3-1 breaking ball.
49 pitches in. 2 outs in the third. Scoreless. Dodgers, Marlins. Oh, stabbed by Lucas. Gonzalez punched that breaking ball towards left, and Lucas robbed him of a hit. And for Fernandez, his first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game.
Presentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
A little Havana tonight, certainly a Cuban flavor. With Jose Fernandez, Yasiel Puig, Adeiny Echeverria. Dodgers and Marlins. Jake Marisnick takes a strike. Marisnick, Jeff Mathis, and Fernandez. 7, 8, 9 in Miami's order. A walk that's about it for the Marlins. That was the Donovan Solano, and he was erased on a strike him out, throw him out double play when Ryu struck out Stanton. Fastball, ground ball. Hanley Ramirez straightens up, fires to first in time. 4 ground ball outs already for Ryu. If you're watching this telecast from home, get on the internet. You can like us on Facebook, follow on Twitter. Keep up to date with the Marlins and all your other favorite Florida sports teams. Jeff Mathis. He flips one foul and out of play. Mathis, yesterday a big day, a solo homer. Got Miami on the board. And then that sinking liner in the center that kicked off Andres Torres for an RBI double ended up being the game winner. Marlins beat the Giants 6-5. And Mathis continued his trend, Tommy, of doing damage with the small amount of hits that he gets. He's got 32 hits and 22 RBIs.
That's a darn good ratio. 6 doubles, a triple, 3 home runs. There's that changeup.
It's a good one.
Yeah, not afraid to use it anytime. Good arm action. A little fade to it, kind of moves away from a right-handed hitter. It gets you out on that front foot.
Mathis pops it up. Gonzalez on the mound makes the catch. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Here's Fernandez now. A spirited round of batting practice. That's always the case when Fernandez is in the cage. And he has big power. But obviously, running into one against a live pitcher, a little different than batting practice. Smacks it into center field for a base hit. So that's Miami's first hit. Jose Fernandez.
Well, for Jose, hit number 6 on the year, and he stayed on that ball. Sometimes he has a tendency to swing a little bit too hard, comes out of his shoes. That time he stayed on it. Solid line drive.
That'll bring Yelich to the plate.
See, he's even cracking up Adrian Gonzalez.
Rio misses out to Yelich, who bounced to second back in the first.
Yelich has done a nice job. He continues to do so, hitting in the leadoff spot. 18 games leading off, hitting over 320.
He's going to get a 2-0 pitch here.
To a left-hander, I don't think he'd throw that changeup behind the count. I would think he would see a fastball here.
Catches the corner. It's 2-1.
Barely. Right where A.J. Ellis wanted it, though. You saw him set up outside.
Slow breaking ball misses low, and a good at bat for Yelich. He's got himself in a hitter's count at 3-1. Solano is up next. Neither team has scored. Both teams have a hit. The Dodgers have left 3 on. Jose Fernandez at first with 2 outs. And Yelich drives one to left field, hits it well. Crawford back, looks up, and it bounces off the wall. Fernandez headed for third. They will send him. He will score. Yelich to third, safe there. Jose Fernandez racing around the bases. Joe Espada didn't hesitate. And the Marlins are on the board.
Well, what a nice swing on a 3-1 pitch by Christian Yelich. Giving his fans back in Los Angeles something to scream about right now. This ball really fooled Carl Crawford. I don't think Crawford thought initially it was going to get over his head. It did. It short hops the fence out there by the Clevelander. 2 outs. Jose going hard, takes a peek, picks up Joe Espada. I'm going home. And the Marlins get their first run.
Now Donovan Solano up, and Yelich is 90 feet away. It's a great point, Tommy. The Marlins have a big contingent of Southern California players. And you noted playing against the Dodgers for a guy like Giancarlo Stanton. But the 2 youngsters who are in the lineup, Marisnik and Yelich, both Southern California guys. They know that everybody back home is watching the Dodger game.
Has been scored a double, and Yelich taking third on the throw.
Solano takes outside. The Marlins have the right guy up in this spot. Donovan Solano, with runners in scoring position this year, 386. Solano to right field with a base hit, and it's 2-0. The little guy just keeps coming up with big hits.
Don't ever write Donovan Solano off. Every time you think about it, he comes up big. Sprays balls all over, and it seems like when he has that chance with a runner in scoring position, he'll stay to this part of the field. Got himself a 2-0 pitch. Solid line drive. Not only drives in a run, but he gives Jose Fernandez a few more minutes to catch his breath.
And he gives Giancarlo Stanton at bat with a runner at first base. So Stanton comes up. He went down swinging on a Ryu changeup. Stanton drives at center field. In comes Ethier, and he makes the catch. And the inning is over. But Miami is on the board twice. Started by Jose Fernandez, finished by Christian Yelich and Donovan Solano. Anything in there. and that head will bobble. 2-0, Miami on top. In the fourth, Marlins and Dodgers again tomorrow night. 7:10 start. Pick up the Tuesday edition of the Miami Herald. Take advantage of the half-price Tuesday offer. Get up to 8 half-price tickets in Legend Silver, Baseline Reserve, Bullpen Reserve, or Home Run Porch. Visit the Marlins Park ticket office or go to marlins.com. Hanley Ramirez stands in. Sort of a delayed reaction by the crowd. He snuck up on him.
That's not the reaction he gets in LA, but fans remember here.
Fastball popped up. And it's back behind the screen.
Important inning, I think, for Jose. The fact that he had a score on that double from Yelich, a score all the way from first base. He was chugging along, running well. Had to catch his breath and get back out there and face Hanley at first man.
There's the breaking ball, and Hanley swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
Just a devastating breaking ball. It's a pitch that Hanley hit for fly ball out his first time up. See if Jose goes back out there.
Outside corner.
He did it, but with heat. 98.
Ramirez didn't like it. John Hirschbeck differed in his opinion. Fernandez has his third strikeout.
Right there where Jeff Mathis set the target. Probably got a call, but a great pitch.
He got a call. But as you said, a great pitch. If you can get the call, that makes it a great pitch. Andre Ethier swings and misses at a changeup.
Yeah, he starts Ethier out with a terrific changeup.
Ethier struck out in the first. That was a big moment for Fernandez. He was 23 pitches in. He had walked Crawford, walked Adrian Gonzalez, and Ethier struck out to end the inning. One and two.
That's a pitch that a lot of times we talk about the fastball and we talk about that hard breaking ball. The changeup is not always there for him, but when it is, it's just a tough pitch to lefties and righties.
Wow. Backdoor breaking ball, strike 3 called, and he's punched out Hanley Ramirez and Andre Ethier to open up the fourth.
With an assortment of tremendous pitches, Ethier knew it all the way. Wow.
And here is A.J. Ellis. You know, for some pitchers, a run around the bases after a hit like that, you'd be worried about him. But it seems like Fernandez feeds off that type of stuff.
He's a complete athlete. We saw him get the base hit, start the rally.
A.J. Ellis, Dodger catcher, bounced to short his first time up. Dodgers are doing it with pitching and, of course, an offense that has come to life in the last 2 months.
You know, when the Marlins were in L.A., the Dodgers were 13-21, and the fans wanted Mattingly's head. They wanted their manager fired.
Well, now the Dodgers have won 42 of their last 51, and Mattingly is the smartest man in L.A.
That's the way it goes.
And I think if anybody is equipped to manage a group of all these personalities, be they, we talked about Hanley Ramirez, Yasiel Puig, now Brian Wilson, Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, big contracts, big stars,
big
Matt
names.
Kemp, Ethier. Mattingly's the guy because he's lived it.
You know, and I think a lot of that was said about Joe Torre when he had his group with the Yankees. And Mattingly basically said, you know what, they are some characters, but all I want them to do is show up at 7 o'clock and play hard and play the game right.
Sliding, tumbling, terrific play by Solano. And he stuck the landing. And he gets a nice bump from Jose Fernandez. 2-0 Fish. National anthem. She's the one that started Savannah's Soldiers, where they send letters, care packages, and all kinds of stuff to the soldiers fighting men and women. And you can contribute. SavannahMadison.com. Log on to SavannahMadison.com and join Savannah's Soldiers. It is a great, great idea by a very bright young girl.
Bright and talented. What a great job she did singing the anthem tonight as well.
Back to the task at hand for the Marlins as they go after the Dodgers lefty, Youngjin Ryu, with Logan Morrison, Ed Lucas, and Danny Echeverria in the fourth. 2 runs in the bottom of the third against Ryu. The big hits, well, the 2-out single by Jose Fernandez started it. Christian Yelich then doubled as Morrison sends one out to left center field. Crawford is there and he makes the catch. And then Donovan Solano finished the scoring with an RBI single to right.
There's a nice buzz in the crowd tonight, Rich. A good crowd, and they're really into this game.
Marlins Live gets you going from center field, and it's driven by South Florida Honda dealers. It's tomorrow night. Game 2, as the Fish and the Dodgers play a whopping 4-game series that stretches through the week. Jacob Turner for the Fish. Another lefty, Chris Capuano, will go for the Dodgers. So Miami's going to see their third straight lefty in Capuano tomorrow.
And the final game of this series on Thursday afternoon, they'll see the best left-hander in the league, if not in baseball, Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, they've seen some pretty good ones. I mean, you stretch these 4 lefties out. Madison Bumgarner, Ryu, a Rookie of the Year candidate. Capuano.
Bumgarner, who's been, as we talked about yesterday, their most consistent starter.
Capuano probably is bringing up the rear in this quartet, and then you get to Kershaw.
But you know what? Capuano beat the Marlins in LA.
Ryu with a changeup strikes out Lucas. That changeup has given the right-handed hitters fits, not only for the Marlins, but the rest of the National League. Here comes Echeverria.
And you have to worry about that with Capuano, too. He doesn't have the velocity now that Ryu does, but he has a terrific changeup.
Echeverria. Couple runs on 3 hits for the Marlins. And Etch takes down low. Well, the Dodgers are on an incredible ride, and we talked about the historic run of 42 of 51 games they've won. The Marlins themselves are on a significant run. Yeah, I know it's not as gaudy as that, but Miami is 34-34 since the 31st of May, and for a team that's extremely young rotation, young in the field, in a rebuilding mode, to go from the end of May to this point and play 500 baseball is a real step forward.
A team that has certainly gone through a lot, come through a lot since the first couple of months of the season, without question.
And your point is a good one in that the Marlins and Mike Redmond were in Los Angeles facing the Dodgers in late April. It was a very different team than is out here now.
You know, in LA, the Dodgers could have said, "Who are these guys?" And they could say the same thing in this trip, too.
Actually, it was early May, but, you know, what's a few days from early May to late April? Echeverria flies to center, and Ryu has an easy inning. Miami's got the lead, and they've got the kid on the mound. It's 2-0. By Honda. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. Team photo day is always a challenge to get everybody in the right spot. And of course, once you get everybody in the right spot, there's always one guy missing. Ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation from some. All in good spirits. Jose Uribe, Mark Ellis, Youngjin Ryu. Into left center, and Juan Uribe has a hit.
Well, Uribe with the only 2 Dodger hits, 2 singles.
His uncle is Jose, the former Giant shortstop. So Juan Uribe's at first. Fernandez backs Mark Ellis up with a fastball. Ellis's travels through the big leagues have taken him from the Kansas City organization that drafted him, 10 years with the Oakland Athletics. Second year with the Dodgers. And of course, his double play mate, while he's in the big leagues as a great second baseman, he was the shortstop. David Eckstein was the second baseman. Eckstein would earn his stripes in the big leagues as a shortstop. Ellis ended up at second. Bouncer in the hole. Echeverria dives and has to hold on. That would have been superhuman had he been able to get the ball to second.
He's playing just a step, maybe cheating toward the bag with a double play in order. Had to go to his right. Makes the grab, just a tremendous play, and can't make the play at second base. It's a great effort by Danny Echeverria.
The only guy I've seen make that play is Alfredo Amezaga in the infamous Amezaga play, which only lives on the 10-run reel. So Ryu's going to try to bunt. He does. A curveball. Mathis is on it quick. Fires to third. It's dropped by Lucas, who had a certain out at third and was hustling, I'm sure, to try to get an out at first.
And Lucas got greedy. The out was there at third. It was a nice play by Mathis. Ed Lucas is saying, Ryu doesn't run that well. I'm going to get a double play. But there's an old saying, you can't get two unless you get one first. Boy, that hurts. It's a fielder's choice. It'll be an assist to Mathis and an error charge to Ed Lucas.
And Carl Crawford.
And now it's back to the top of the order.
Yeah, Crawford's up. There's nobody out. The bags are loaded. And Fernandez is going to have to pitch his way out of this one. Against three really good hitters. Three hot hitters. Crawford, Puig, and Gonzalez.
And against this team, the way the Dodgers have played, you can't make many mistakes.
Outside corner. Well, let's see if the kid's up to it.
What it's going to do, too, it's going to up that pitch count.
Uribe, Ellis, Ryu. Infield up the middle is back for two. And Morrison is back at first. Lucas even at the bag at third. Mathis out for a visit. .6:30 start. Marlins live tomorrow. Jacob Turner, Chris Capuano here tonight. Miami getting 2 runs in the bottom of the third against Youngjin Ryu. But the Dodgers have them loaded with nobody out in the 5th. That breaking ball, he gets the second strike on a foul ball.
And now you know Jose's thinking strikeout. Ahead to Crawford in this bases loaded, no out situation.
Crawford has walked, and he flied to left. Breaking ball. Davey Lopes scoots out of the way. Now the pitch count is up there already. 73. Mathis smothers what was a dive bomber of.
Yeah, that's the changeup that he might have overthrown. Usually his changeup's like 89, 88, sometimes 90. That one was a 92-mile-an-hour changeup. There are a lot of guys that like to have that for their fastball.
One-two pitch.
Good job, and it's nice to know for a young pitcher that Mathis is back there when you're going to try to bury that slider down and in.
Checkers, Fox tracks. Two and two. Mathis out for another visit. Whether he's trying to talk him into something or talk him out of something, you just don't know.
But you want to be on the right page. Certainly at 21, you want to trust your veteran catcher.
Two. Breaking ball, one hopper. Solano got it out. Echeverria safe at first.
Boy, just a tough guy. Anybody else hits that ball, it's a double play. Carl Crawford's so hard to double up. Carl Crawford in 84 games is grounded into just 2 double plays. Solano, Echeverria, they do everything just about right, but Crawford just outruns it.
Crawford gets the RBI. Uribe scores. Ryu is erased. Ellis and Crawford at the corners. And here is Puig. And he's not easy to double up either. .97 on the fastball. 0-1. Puig is out of Cienfuegos, Cuba. Fernandez, Santa Clara, Cuba. Outside corner. And of course here in Little Havana, Yasiel Puig's first visit. And he met the press, had an interpreter, answered questions from both the American press and the Spanish language radio and television stations.
Let's see where Jose goes to try to strike him out here. 0-2.
Fastball struck him out. High heat. Don Mattingly is coming out right now, and the home plate umpire, John Hirschbeck, appeared to say something to Puig as Puig came off the plate, and there's Puig in the dugout.
Not too sure what he's mad at. He just couldn't catch up with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
And Puig looks like he's out of control in the Dodger dugout right now.
If there is a problem, and it has been in his brief stay in the minor leagues, it can be the attitude. He may have said something because of the called strike, and Hirschbeck just probably told him to go sit down.
Well, here's the 3 pitches. The called strike was the second pitch. Pitch 2.
It's actually a better one than the called strike to Hanley earlier in the game.
Now Gonzalez. Fernandez still has a really tough hitter to get to keep this lead. If he can keep the lead, if he can get out of this and just give up the 1 run, the Dodgers had the bags loaded and nobody out. He's got to feel pretty good, especially with the caliber of hitters. Crawford, Puig, now Gonzalez.
Adrian Gonzalez, runners in scoring position with 2 out this year. 18 for 40, that's 450.
Alan Craig, the only one better. There's a strike.
Remember when Gonzalez batted in the 3rd inning, how he flicked a good breaking ball and hit a line drive that Ed Lucas made a real good play on.
So if you throw that breaking ball again, it better be on his back foot.
He's got to try to keep in, go down and in with it.
Stays away with a fastball at 93. Had some run on it.
And it also, with the swing that Gonzalez had, tells me he wasn't expecting fastball because he was late on that swing.
Crawford still at first, Ellis still at third, and Fernandez chases him back. Big moment in this ball game, and it comes here in the top of the 5th. Gonzalez will step out.
Yeah, he's such a pure hitter.
One, two. Got him! He strikes out Puig. He strikes out Gonzalez and holds on to the lead. And the Dodgers get just 1. In Miami tonight, it's 2-1 Fish. In Miami tonight, Little Havana tonight. Jose Fernandez is on, and the Marlins are up 2-1 over the Dodgers. Bottom of the 5th. Youngjin Ryu delivers to Jake Marisnick for a strike. Ryu, for all but 1 inning, has been really, really good. And that inning, the 3rd, the Marlins got both their runs after 2 were out. And it was Fernandez who started it. Juan Uribe across the diamond in time.
Rich, with the pitching that Jose Fernandez did last inning, the run, an unearned run. So now 5 innings, 1 run, no earned run. His ERA's at 2.37.
As Jeff Mathis comes to the plate, let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. I want to tell you there's a tremendous buzz here in the crowd tonight. As you see here, the lower bowl pretty much packed. They were standing on that 2-strike. A couple of fans turned around and got everybody going. Gregory, good Marlins fan here. What about the excitement tonight?
Yeah, no. I believe that the Marlins going to beat the Dodgers today because, this team is amazing, man. This team is, it's growing up. And they like to beat the big ones.
You were describing it like playoff little flavor.
Yeah. No, this to tell you the truth, this is a playoff game here. Come on, man. You got the Dodgers, which are the first place all the way in the West.
Yes.
And you got the Marlins, which is the young team. They like to beat up those teams. Come on.
You got the storyline. Hey, and now Alex over here, we had a shot before. Your dad's from Cuba. Yeah. Obviously, it's a big story around Latin America tonight and down here in South Florida.
Yeah, man, it's culture. This is what I grew up on. Watching Echevarria, you got Fernandez, you got Puig, Cespedes out in Oakland. That's what Cuban what I was raised on.
Now your dad's not here tonight, but is he watching the game? What did he talk to you?
He's watching at home. So saludo.
Does he talk to you about Cuban baseball and heritage?
All day long, from what he grew up on and from what I see now in TV today. We speak about Cuban baseball all day long.
You wear that hat with a lot of pride?
Yeah, with pride, man. I'm happy to do it, So it's a big thing for me.
All right, good for you. All right, so good buzz here in the crowd as you walk around here tonight, and that's good to see at Marlins Park. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Craig. Ryu now has set down 6 in a row since Solano finished the scoring in the third. And here comes Fernandez, who opened the door with a 2-out single in that third inning.
Well, that was the key to that third inning. It was a 2-out rally and started by Jose.
Jose trying to bunt, and he fouls it down the third baseline. So what we expected was a well-pitched game, and that's exactly what we've seen. Ryu struck out 3, giving up just 3 hits. Fernandez has struck out 6, walked 2. He's given up just 3 hits. Ellis set up outside the plate, and the count's 1-1. Ryu's pitch count at 70 right now. Fernandez lives up at 83.
Yeah, he's in much better shape as far as the pitch count, but he's also been allowed to go more innings than Jose has.
Change up.
Well, you're talking about Fernandez pitching against one of the best offensive clubs, best all-around clubs in the National League.
Got him. Big breaking ball. Down goes Fernandez. Ryu's in a groove. He set down 7 in a row and punched out 4. on Hirschbeck and maybe trying to ease tensions a little bit. You saw the exchange between Hirschbeck and Yasiel Puig. Puig was upset on the second strike, the one that was a called strike, and our Just for Men play like a champ. The profile of Jose Fernandez. Fernandez, most starts, 7 innings, no runs allowed, a National League rookie since 1990. And you got Hideo Nomo, Mark Gardner, former Expo.
Boy, there's some great profiles on Jose Fernandez.
There really isn't much let up in the Dodger order. Here's Hanley Ramirez. Fernandez bends in a breaking ball for a strike. Ramirez is flied out, struck out. Andre Ethier, A.J. Ellis to follow. And this is an interesting inning because of the stressful inning in the 5th. Hanley yanks one, left field. That's deep. Yelich on the run, at the track. Got it!
And yes, Hanley, that would have been out at Dodger Stadium.
And that would have been out at Sun Life Stadium.
Just a little bit off the end of the bat. Yelich chases it down, and Jose records the first out of this inning.
And here comes Ethier.
Talking about profiles, Jose Fernandez, the first rookie with 4 10 or more strikeout games since Cole Hamels in 2006. There are a lot of things you could profile Jose Fernandez on.
You see Fernandez dragging his hand in the dirt, working the side of his pants, that trademark dirty right side. Didn't have the rosin bag growing up. He's old school. He likes to use that dirt. There's the rosin. He's slowly incorporating that, but when his go-to move is just to get a bunch of dirt and rub it on his pants.
I think when he goes back to the basics, he goes to the dirt.
You see the right hip. 1-2 pitch.
Wow, there's a pitch we have not seen. Any
slow breaking ball, and it pops Ethier in the knee. That was one of those where it wasn't high velocity, but that must have just hit Ethier in the exact wrong spot.
We have not seen him, I don't recall, use that pitch. That real slow curveball that way.
Did you see Ethier? It almost looked as if, as the ball came, he put the knee out.
He can be glad it wasn't the 97-mile-an-hour fastball. There's the knee. The left knee kind of goes into it.
Whether he was just bending it or he stuck it out, it's hard to tell. I don't think he thought it was going to hurt that bad if he was sticking it out.
It was 58 miles an hour.
That's why I said it must have hit the exact wrong spot.
I mean, you get run off the turnpike at 58 miles an hour.
Here's A.J. Ellis. He bounced out. Back in the 4th. Smokes one in the corner and foul.
Ethier still limping, watching him take off from first base. Probably the best thing for it once you loosen it up that way. This is, I think, an important next couple of outs because I'm sure Mike Redmond, I'm sure Chuck Hernandez, Jose, they would like to see it done efficiently to try to get one more inning, to get the 7th inning from Jose.
Outside corner. And if he can do it efficiently and get the next 2 outs, that means the next inning starts at the bottom of the order. It's not right in the middle of Puig, Gonzalez, and Ramirez. Fernandez had to pitch his way out of the 5th, and he did that by striking out Puig and striking out Gonzalez with the bags loaded. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. So there's a strikeout of Ellis. He's got 2 outs. Here comes Juan Uribe. No Dodger dogs, but you can eat all you want. Come on in, Marlins Dodgers on a Thursday afternoon. Remember, it's a 12:40 start on Thursday. Go to your local Subway restaurant, get a voucher for a discounted $5 ticket. All seniors 55 and older can receive complimentary tickets on Senior Ticket Thursdays, presented by Wellmax Medical Center. Here's Juan Uribe. And Uribe takes up.
Got a text from part of our crack staff out at the Budweiser bar saying that even out there they can hear the pop of the catcher's glove from Fernandez's fastballs.
Breaking ball for a strike.
Somewhere on that countertop, the bar top, where Stanton's home run landed the other night.
Are you going to identify the member of the crack staff that's out there, or
no? It's an incognito crack staff.
1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
And Jose's going to have to try to do something he hadn't done tonight, and that's retire Juan Uribe.
Look at that, 3 for 3 in his career. 2 hits in this one.
That's right. His hit in L.A. was a pinch hit. Nick Punto started those games at third base when the Marlins were in Los Angeles.
Uribe had that big postseason with the Giants in 2010. Home runs in the NLCS and in the World Series. Of course, he was a world champion with the White Sox as a shortstop. Did he go? No. That was close.
Well, that was real close.
Seven strikeouts for Fernandez, and this nearly was number 8. Count full, 3-2. Runner on the move. Lined in the left field corner. After it is Yelich. Round second is Ethier. Headed for third. Now headed for home. This game is tied. And Juan Uribe does it again.
Well, I went to the well once too often with that breaking ball. Uribe was on it. Mathis's target was away, but it was middle of the plate. Look at pitch number 7. The breaking ball stayed middle. And once it gets into that corner, even a little gimping Andre Ethier, the knee's feeling a lot better now. He scored all the way from first base. Uribe now 4 for 4 against Fernandez in his career. And I think that right there is going to limit Jose to 6 innings tonight.
I mean, especially because his last 2 innings have been stressful innings. The 5th, where he had the bags loaded and nobody out. He got out of that with just the 1 run. And then here, hitting Ethier turns out to be a problem because Ethier ends up scoring on Uribe's double.
And also in that 5th inning, we talked about it at the time, the error by Ed Lucas. It extended things and made him really work in that inning.
Now he has to get Ryu out, and that's not a layup, so to speak, as Ryu pirouettes on the swing.
Yeah, a couple of doubles, a triple this year.
He lined to center back in the 2nd. It was Ryu's bunt that Mathis pounced on and threw to 3rd that Lucas dropped. That started what turned out to be a 1-run inning. It loaded the bases with nobody out. Fernandez struck out Puig and Gonzalez to end that inning. But here the Dodgers have tied it at 2.
Well, and if Jose gets through this inning, it'll put him at 145 in the 3rd innings on the season. And we've talked about that. How many more starts will he have?
A strike. 2-2. Miami's bullpen stirs. A.J. Ramos. Three and 2. There's Crawford.
It's his last pitch. Make it a good one.
Mathis going to go out and make sure. Because I don't think Ramos is ready to face Crawford. So if he loses Ryu, he's going to have to face Crawford for the 4th time. And it will be with the bags loaded. Three-2. Got him. Struck him out. But the Dodgers strike for a run here in the 6th. Juan Uribe is 3 for 3. And this game is tied at 2. Runs is unearned. Regardless, it's 2-2, and it's the bottom of the 6th inning. Christian Yelich at the plate. He'll lead it off, top of the order. Wendy's present. Now that's better. Yelich hits first-year Marlins through 25 games. You can see that Yelich at 30 is among some pretty good company. Moises Alou, the leader. Juan Pierre at 31, tied with Logan Morrison. Miller Bonifacio, Tommy, is getting time and playing pretty well with the Kansas City Royals right now.
I think that's been, number one, we thought at the time it was a good move for Kansas City, and I think it's been a nice move for Bonifacio as well. Gets himself back in a little bit of a race.
Ryu, as we noted, after giving up the 2 runs in the 3rd, has retired 7 straight. Yelich's double drove in the first run in the 3rd, and it was to left field. It was over Crawford's head. It scored Fernandez, who was at first base. And Ryu nearly clips him with an off-speed pitch. Solano's on deck.
Notice Ryu uses that breaking ball as kind of a slurvy curve slider type, uses that more to the lefties.
Yelich bangs it out to short. Hanley Ramirez across the diamond. Out number 1 in the bottom of the 6th. With the launch of Fox Sports 1 this weekend, every night you can get your highlights on Fox Sports Live, the sports and highlight show you've been waiting for. Jay on right, Dan O'Toole, joined by Donovan McNabb, Gary Payton, Andy Roddick in the chair, Carissa Thompson. Bring you everything you need to know from the world of sports. Fox Sports Live airs nightly on Fox Sports 1. Solano into center field. Another hit for Solano. He's been on base all 3 times. A couple hits and a walk. And he's aboard. Here comes Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton has had 2 looks at Ryu. Struck out into a double play in the first. And off the end of the bat, he lined to center in the 3rd.
Well, hitters 3 through 8 have gone 0 for 12 against Ryu.
Well, he stays away, and it's 2-0. Would you think backwards and sit on that changeup here?
Well, he saw it 3-2. You could do it one time.
He missed away. It's 3-0.
A little two-seam fastball. Here you give him the green light and hope he gets fastball.
Here is the 3-0.
And he throws changeup, 3-0. That's what they used to say. That's called respect. Respect to Stanton's power.
Let's see if he doubles up. Four strikeouts for Ryu. Stanton lines it down the right field line, but that's twisting up towards the seats.
I don't think he'll go fastball again. He stayed away, but he went with fastball.
Now 3-2. Don't know that he's going to see that again. With 1 out. Remember, Stanton struck out in a double play. Solano was caught stealing back in the first. Not running, and that's bounced into center field. Base hit. Solano round second, stops there. Ethier, a very good outfielder. A couple of 1-out hits. And here comes Morrison.
Yeah, Ethier, the type of outfielder, he may not have the above average arm, may not have the blazing speed, but he's a really fundamentally sound, good outfielder. He had to come in on that ball quickly because any runner can go first to third, especially knowing Ethier was playing deep with Stanton, the hitter. And he came on that ball quickly.
Well, Morrison has lined out and flied out, and both times it's been to left field. So you know the approach that Morrison has had against Ryu. He'll bust him in. 1-0. It's funny, that 271 average with runners in scoring position. That's right where he's hitting overall. He's at 270 right now. That just misses.
Good at bats this inning from the Marlins.
Chris Withrow in Los Angeles' bullpen. And a visit from A.J. Ellis. See, Ellis got the fingernails all illuminated. Everybody's coming in now.
Yeah, they're going to calm him down. They're going to give Withrow a little more time to throw down in the bullpen.
And on his way out to the mound is Rick Honeycutt.
And that adds a little more time.
So certainly they wouldn't bring Withrow in to finish against Morrison, but Lucas and Echeverria are on deck. The interpreter is out. New rule this year, pitching coaches or managers can take an interpreter to the mound, regardless of whether it's for Spanish, for Korean, for Japanese.
And you notice Ryu doesn't have to put the glove over his mouth.
That's a good point. Solano's at second, Stanton's at first, and Morrison sitting on a 2-0 pitch. Ryu, and he just missed it.
It's all right. That's a good 2-0 swing.
Morrison cranks it. Right field. In the corner. That's fair. Solano scores. Stanton to third. He'll hold there. And it's 3-2. He almost hit it too hard because Puig got to the ball quickly. It caromed off the wall, and Stanton had to stop at third base. But Miami reclaims the lead.
Boy, a couple of terrific swings. Nice at bat by Logan Morrison to get himself in this position and then have the two swings that he had, 2-0 and then 2-1. It's that ball on the nose. Solano able to score. Stanton gets to third. And Mattingly has a decision to make.
They're going to intentionally walk Ed Lucas to bring Echeverria up, and you would expect they'll bring the right-hander out of the bullpen to face Echeverria.
The other nice thing about this is right now Jose Fernandez is the pitcher of record, and the Marlins have taken the lead. He's had a number of games go the other way for him, so you'd love to see the Fish add on a little bit more.
Lucas trots down to first. Fernandez, as usual, on that top rail, and there's no movement to go get the right-hander. Withrow has been warm and ready for some time.
When these situations have been tough for Echeverria, he has grounded into 16 double plays.
And with the changeup that Ryu throws, that's a perfect recipe for a ground ball to short. Dodgers infield playing for two. Echeverria fouls it back.
And yes, he got the changeup first pitch.
It looked like the Dodgers were doing everything they could to stall to get the right-hander ready. And now that he's ready, they're sticking with Ryu. A Marlin at every base. There's one out. Ryu goes right after him. Echeverria fouls it off.
Now Ryu is in that position where he can make his pitch to try to get a double play, to try to get Echeverria to hit that ground ball.
Lucas, the runner, at first. Morrison at second. Stanton at third. 0-2. It's in. And Etch was kind of leaning out thinking changeup.
What if he goes in fastball, changeup away?
Stanton single followed Solano's base hit. Morrison's double chased Solano home. Lucas was intentionally walked. Ryu out in front of Echeverria. And there's the soft away on the changeup. Now it's 2-2. It's a good game of chess here between the managers and between Ryu and Echeverria.
This is great one-on-one stuff.
Two pitch. Change up, and he just got a piece of it. And that's what the Dodgers want. They want Echeverria to try to roll over on that soft change-up away.
Now, will he triple up on it, or will he go back in with that fastball?
Yesterday, in the bottom of the ninth, when the Dodgers needed a double play to get out of the inning and get to extras, they got the double play ball, but Hanley Ramirez kicked it. A game-winning error. 2-2. Ground ball. Ramirez has this one. Ellis turns it, and the Dodgers get their double play. And Mattingly's move pays off. Miami gets a run. Fernandez in line for the win, but there's a long way to go in Miami tonight. Frustrating number 17, and that ties him with Michael Young, fourth for grounding into double plays, most in the National League. Matt Holliday is up at 27.
Wow. You know, it's a question it doesn't have a defining answer, but you know, why does Echeverria hit into so many double plays? A lot of it is he gets himself in counts where a pitcher can make that pitch. And then early in the count, when you maybe can get a pitch to drive, or he should think the other way a little bit, he hasn't found that yet. So hopefully that won't translate year after year.
Top of the order, A.J. Ramos steps right into the fire. Cholula Hot Sauce spotlight player Carl Crawford grew up in Houston. Of course, a star with the Rays, a four-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, Gold Glover. The perfect storm. Was it he and Michael Bourne?
Michael Bourne played on the same Little League team together.
That's some speed.
Yeah, the other night when Ramos came in the eighth inning against the Giants, he walked 3 in a row after getting a strikeout.
And Morrison gathers it. Ramos gets there just in front of Crawford.
There's a little backwards pitching there. Fell behind 2-0 and got Crawford with a changeup.
For an out here in the seventh. This will be an interesting at bat. Here's a look on the super slow-mo. super slow-mo of Lomo. And he gets the out. Remember the last at bat by Yasiel Puig in the 5th. Puig exchanged words with John Hirschbeck and then almost spun out of control inside the Dodger dugout. Had to be restrained by a couple of teammates and was fortunate that he wasn't thrown out of the game. Don Mattingly came out the next half inning and discussed with Hirschbeck. Seemed to soothe everything over.
Now you don't, especially with the count 0-2. A mistake pitch is any pitch that has the plate because he'll chase off the plate up. You cannot throw a strike here for the next couple of pitches.
Jeff Mathis knows that. Let's see if Ramos delivers. He does. He strikes him out. Down goes Puig.
Boy, that's a good job by A.J. Ramos. Yasiel Puig now 0 for his last 10.
With 4 strikeouts. And look at it on Checkers, the Fox track way out of the zone.
Throw a decision out there that Mike Redmond has to make before it happens, especially if Ramos gets Gonzalez here. Has a nice 1-2-3 inning. Do you send him back out there? Maybe not, because his batting spot comes up, so the decision might be made for Red.
Jam shot and a base hit. Yelich picks it up. 2-out hit from Adrian Gonzalez.
Because I know Mike Redmond at times likes to use Ramos for a couple of innings if he's throwing the ball well, but his spot comes up 3rd when the Marlins bat in the bottom half.
Warm reception for Hanley every time he's come up. Hanley nearly had extra bases in the 6th. Yelich made a nice running catch deep in the corner and left.
Now there has been and there was so much talk about the impact that Puig had. He certainly did, but during that time, Hanley Ramirez was as hot of a hitter as Puig was.
And contributed just as much as Puig contributed,
if not more.
But of course, he wasn't a 22-year-old rookie, and he didn't. I mean, Hanley has flair. There's no question about that. He's got bling. We've all seen that, but not to the degree that Puig has. Puig takes Hanley to another level.
Many scouts that have seen Hanley Ramirez a number of games have said that he's swinging the bat the way he did in 09 when he won the batting title.
Hanley hit .342 that year. One-two to Hanley Ramirez. It's amazing, not only the run that the Dodgers have had, winning 42 of 51 games, a historic march, but putting such distance between themselves and the second-place Diamondbacks, who actually gained a game on the Dodgers yesterday and sit 7.5 back in the West. And Hanley waves at a breaking ball. Ramos with a nifty inning in the 7th. 7th inning stretch. Good buzz, good crowd. Terrific game. Miami on top of the Dodgers by a run. Brought to you by Chevron, Chris Capuano. The lefty out of Duke, Jacob Turner. Marlins right-hander with an ERA still under 3. It's Turner, it's Capuano, it's tomorrow night. In Miami tonight. Camera 12 is going. And the Marlins lead the Dodgers 3-2. Ryu is still out there. Marisnik tries to bunt and fouls it off. 97 pitches for the Korean lefty. Jeff Mathis, and as Tommy pointed out, the pitcher spot. Withrow for the second time is throwing. And the Marlins have to get someone ready. You know, if Ramos' spot came up in a bunting situation, Marisnik busts his bat. Ellis gathers it in and gets the out. Trying to figure out a way to keep A.J. Ramos around for another half inning.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I think if he came up with a man on, I think we'd see Juan Pierre. Or maybe even a Greg Dobbs. Probably not Dobbs. And if it were a bunting situation, yeah, you could see Pierre against the lefty, but it looks like Ruggiano stepping in the on-deck circle now.
Mathis gets that off the end of the bat, shallow left. Crawford settles and makes the catch.
So with nobody on, it will be Justin Ruggiano.
Well, we'll see if Don Mattingly lets the lefty face Ruggiano, who's been hot. He's got the right-hander ready.
I think he has to like the way Ryu has got the first 2 outs, though.
Now, you see that right there, Tommy? That's Ruggiano talking to A.J. Ellis, and I'll bet you they were teammates somewhere because it took Ellis 9 years to get to the big leagues in the Dodgers organization. And, of course, Ruggiano was drafted by the Dodgers.
Well, somewhere along the line, they know each other.
Rick Honeycutt with translator. There are no subtitles allowed. Honeycutt to the translator to Ryu.
They might be talking over a quick scouting report on Ruggiano. I think he's going to pitch to him. They're not going to make a pitching change. And A.J. Ellis may have said, I know this guy.
Ruggiano, the big weekend, blasting a couple of home runs in one game against the Giants. That coming off snapping the 0 for 42. Here are the home runs. Barry Zito gave up the last one. So he gets an AB against the lefty here. Fastball.
How about Vero Beach, 2005? They were teammates.
There you go.
Florida State League.
Good work.
Hooked up in Jacksonville, too, the next year.
A.J. Ellis, the Dodger catcher, and Justin Ruggiano. Of course, as the story goes, for Ruggiano to get drafted, he had to promise the Dodger scout that he'd let him hunt on his ranch in Texas.
That's a great story.
And
it tells you, you may want to look for that big ranch that has hunting areas.
And so the Dodger scout brought a couple of his scout buddies, and then I think they signed Ruggiano for maybe $5,000. And lo and behold, he gets to the big leagues through a lot of perseverance. 2-2. Struck him out. Fastball, Ryu strikes out Ruggiano. Into the 8th in Miami. 3-2 Marlins.
A great night for Little Havana. The Cubans at it tonight. Third inning. Marlins get on the board with 2 out. How about the base hit by Jose Fernandez? Christian Yelich drives one over the head of Carl Crawford. And scoring all the way from first was Jose. Base hit by Solano gives the Marlins their second run that inning. They had a 2-0 lead. In the 5th, good play by Mathis. Ed Lucas was thinking a little bit too much, tried to get the double play. The Dodgers end up getting a run on this fielder's choice. It's an unearned run. Marlins held on to a 2-1 lead. Big strikeout getting Puig. How about the tough hitter Adrian Gonzalez in the 6th inning? Juan Uribe in his career already is 4 for 4 against Jose Fernandez. But the big blast for the Marlins that breaks the tie off the bat of Logan Morrison. 2 bases, run comes in to score, and the Marlins have a 3-2 lead.
To seal the deal and get the win for Jose Fernandez, the Marlins bullpen has to hold. A.J. Ramos did just that in the 7th inning. Chad Qualls enters in the 8th. Marlins trying to get to Steve Cishek, who has been dynamite for the last 2 months. Andre Ethier, A.J. Ellis, and then Uribe. Ball starts with a fastball, swung on and missed. Ethier has struck out twice. Hit by a pitch, a slow breaking ball, caught his back knee, and he scored on the Uribe double. That was in the 6th.
We've talked about this Dodger club, how well they've been playing. Today's August 19th. The last time they lost 2 games in a row was June 20th and June 21st. They lost yesterday in Philadelphia.
Struck him out. Ethier didn't like it. Down he goes. Watch the Fox tracks here. Oh, it's right.
Oh, that's perfect.
On the black. That is a strike. Toyota Trent, 42-9 run. In that time span, Atlanta and Detroit have both won 33 games. But the Dodgers have won 9 more games and lost just 9.
June 22nd, shortly after they lost the 2 in a row, they were 30-42. They were 12 games under 500. I think he checked it.
Ball in the strike. Uribe's got 3 hits and he's on deck. Outside corner. I don't know if Hanley Ramirez is
he saying that pitch is that far outside?
Now, is that a Scully he's got on there?
Yeah, in L.A., you know what they call it, though.
The VIN.
The VIN.
I don't know if that's the official Dodger Scully, though. Lucas on the run. Makes a play. There's 2 outs, and here comes Uribe, and here come the Rockies. Well, not for 3 or 4 days, but they're coming. They'll be here on Friday, a fireworks Friday at 7:10. Get the Sir Pizza 4-pack. Includes 4 tickets, 4 personal Sir Pizzas, 4 Pepsi soft drinks for just $60. Stay in your seats after the game. Enjoy a fireworks spectacular presented by Bacardi. Marlins.com, the place to go for tickets. That's that Colorado sunset that we saw in Denver this summer. Now, can Qualls get Uribe out? Fernandez could. Singled twice against him and doubled.
gentleman that Craig interviewed in the stands nailed this one. Said this has a playoff atmosphere.
Echeverria sets his feet, throws a dart. 1, 2, 3 goes Chad Qualls through the 8th, and Miami is hanging on to a 1-run lead. Miami tonight, 3-2, Marlins on top. It's bottom 8. There have been a couple of occasions in this ball game where it looks like the Dodgers are just about to come get Youngjin Ryu, their rookie lefty. And yet here he is, 105 pitches in. He's going to at least open the inning. Of course, we've said that before about him. And he gets Christian Yelich, who is 1 for 3, an RBI double.
I think he only faces Yelich because you got Solano, who's been on base all 3 times against him, is 2 for 2, and then Stanton's after that.
Toward the seats and out of play.
Different ball game. The Texas Rangers are playing against the Astros in Texas. Rangers had an 11-run 3rd inning. It's 13-1 Texas. But you know what? I haven't looked at many out-of-town scores tonight.
Not tonight.
With the excitement we've had here.
Cishek getting ready. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Tell you what, there have been a couple of key hits from left-handed bats against Ryu. The double by Yelich in the 3rd inning that drove in a run, drove home Jose Fernandez, and then Logan Morrison's double.
5 strikeouts, a couple walks for Ryu. Withrow joined by the left-hander. That's J.P. Howell. Jose Fernandez started this game for Miami, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 2 runs, 1 earned, and he's in line for the win. A tapper towards third. It squibs towards Uribe, who makes the throw, but gets the out. Uribe, in his younger years, was a pretty good shortstop on a very good 2005 White Sox team that won the World Series. And you're right. This time, finally, it's Mattingly, not Rick Honeycutt, who arrives. And Ryu put in a solid effort tonight. 7 1/3, and he'll leave with the Marlins up 3-2. 112 pitches for young Jin Ryu. Metro PCS, call to the bullpen. Around the league, the Phillies, just trying to give Ryan Sandberg another win, are up a run in the 8th. The Reds are making a charge up the wild card and the Central standings. St. Louis beating Milwaukee, that's in the 5th. Cardinals continuing their road trip through the Central. The Cubs bouncing back after a weekend beating by the Cardinals, an 8-0 lead over the Nationals. Boston had that real long game and real late night on the East Coast last night, and they are in San Francisco, of all places, tonight. Chris Withrow for the Dodgers. Donovan Solano for Miami. And Withrow splits the plate.
Yeah, he's a guy with some nice, easy delivery with a little life on that fastball.
Dodgers third in the big leagues with a team ERA of 3.25. That's a foul ball. Since the All-Star break, the Dodgers, as a staff, have an ERA of 1.49. That's out of the pen. And, of course, they've got a pitching coach who knows a thing or two about pitching out of the pen, and that's Rick Honeycutt.
They have a really nice coaching staff. We talked about Tim Wallach and Davey Lopes on the lines.
Well, Mark McGuire
can
knock a few out still, probably.
And Tim Wallach, by the way, his son Chad, drafted by the Marlins, is playing in Batavia's short season league. He's a catcher.
Trey Hillman is the bench coach, former manager of the Royals. Managed in Japan. Fastball up, 1-2.
So that staff would give that staff in Arizona a pretty good run for their money.
If a game broke out?
If a game broke out, yeah.
Well, actually, those two staffs got to mix it up a little bit, didn't they? Arizona and Los Angeles.
That's right. Zach Greinke, I think, was involved in that.
Here's the 2-2. That one line fouling out of play. McGuire Remember Matt Williams was in the middle of it? Kirk Gibson. Counts 2-2. Solano drove in a run with a single in the third, singled and scored in the sixth, walked all the way back in the first. Withrows 2-2. Backs him off the plate.
See that real easy delivery that Withrow has.
Withrow with Albuquerque this year was dominant. 24 games, a 1.78 ERA that got him promoted to the big leagues. And he's pitched real well once he's arrived here, as is evident from that live fastball that strikes out Solano.
Yeah, he'll give you that, and then he has that nice curveball to go along with it.
Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton had a nice hit in that sixth inning after the Solano single. Stanton drilled one up the middle, and that set up the Logan Morrison at bat against Ryu. Morrison doubled off the wall in right.
You know, they both, Stanton and Lomo, have hitting streaks. They're quiet hitting streaks. Stanton now at 6 games, Lomo at 7. They've been getting about a hit a game, but they've both been having better at bats throughout the course of the game.
Drive, left center, deep, get out! Like a rocket! Stanton drills one, like that baby up! It's 4-2. Wow!
A little breathing room.
A solo shot here in the 8th. Don Mattingly's going to the bullpen again. There wasn't a question as to whether it was going out. The only question is, what would it break when it got out? Boy, did it get out in a hurry. Metro PCS called to the pen. Just hit an absolute bolt to left center field. J.P. Howell arrives on the scene, and he gets Morrison with 2 outs and an extra run for Steve Cishek.
12 of Stanton's 15 home runs have been hit here at home.
Clevelander home run. Right in the water, Tommy. Sort of.
Yeah, you're right about lasers. Some are majestic. See, some guys can't hit an assortment of home runs. Stanton can hit all kinds.
106 miles an hour off the bat. Morrison wasn't too pleased about the second pitch. It's right on the. That's right on the borderline. J.P. Howell has been hot. That's the other thing, too, while we focus on the offensive numbers for the Dodgers. We threw out that bullpen ERA, a 1.49 since the All-Star break. The pen's been dominant.
They have,
and they even have Carlos Marmol in the bullpen, Tom.
They have a couple of terrific left-handers. J.P. Howell, Paco Rodriguez. A couple of guys who are terrific specialists against lefties. Howell good against righties with the changeup he has. Brandon Lee,
Kenley
Jansen, and now they've added Brian Wilson.
That's a fair ball. It gets under Gonzalez's glove. Morrison's on his way, and he's got himself another double. Seven-game hit streak. 13 doubles now on the season.
A couple of big doubles against some tough left-handers. This one right over the bag, under the glove of a Gold Glover, Adrian Gonzalez. Oh, what a great job of hitting by Lomo.
Here now is Lucas, 0 for 2. Morrison out at second with 2 outs. Steve Cishek is more than ready in the bullpen. He's been standing and watching and waiting. Cishek will have Mark Ellis, the 9 spot, and Carl Crawford. Howell gets strike 2, and it's 0-2. The initial numbers, 428 on the home run by Stanton. But the true distance, we've learned, once calculated, normally will stretch it out.
His is one, or the one tonight was one that speed was more important.
Jose Fernandez been on the front rail ever since he came out. He threw 6 innings. And he's in line for the win. And for a guy that has maybe 5 starts left, if that, and has the credentials certainly to be in that Rookie of the Year conversation, this would be a nice win to get to put on that resume.
Yeah, this is a nice showcase game. One of the other rookies involved in it, 2 rookies with Puig and Ryu, the pitcher. And also this game will get a little national attention because of the way the Dodgers play.
Long sequence from A.J. Ellis, the catcher. J.P. Howell. Liner to left. Morrison. He's going to score. And Lucas has got an RBI hit. 5-2.
Well, there wasn't a guy who felt worse when he made that error earlier in the game that extended the inning, made it a long inning for Jose Fernandez. And Ed Lucas is, he's such a pro. He hung in there. He didn't let it bother him. Gets a big base hit right here to get more insurance.
He really had to get the hands in and through to get to that breaking ball. Echeverria. So a 5-2 lead. The Diamondbacks, as we noted, 7.5 behind the Dodgers, and 2 runs behind the Reds tonight, 5-3, bottom 8 in Cincinnati. Echeverria, it's a foul ball.
J.P. Howell thought he had the coolest beard in the bullpen.
He did until today. Echeverria went around.
4 of the 5 runs tonight, Rich, and this is always a great sign. 4 of the 5 runs tonight for the Marlins have come with 2 out. Marlins 3 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Little comparison of the beard.
No contest.
Wow. It's one of those where you wonder how it didn't hit Echeverria.
Wow.
That's not easy to do for a catcher.
It's not easy to catch either. If you're A.J. Ellis.
2-2 coming. Check swing. No swing. Lucas moves up.
Boy, hard to say if that might be a pass ball. We'll see if it's a pass ball or wild pitch. Going to be a wild pitch.
Full count, 2 outs. 2 runs here, 2 big insurance runs for Miami as they try to beat the Dodgers, something that few teams have been able to do in the last 2 months.
Well, since the All-Star break, they're 25-4. That's it.
Echeverria into center field, and Miami's got another run. Six to 2.
And doing it, Rich, off a bullpen you were talking about and described how well they pitched. A changeup that hung up high, and Etch was on it.
Don Mattingly is out again. Marisnik's coming up.
It's Marmol.
Just for you, Tommy. Carlos Marmol. Petro PCS called to the pen. Number one source for live baseball everywhere you go is MLB.com at Bat. iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry. At Bat delivers Marlins baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at Bat to 31826. Go to Marlins.com for details. Carlos Marmol, the deposed closer of the Cubs, was designated for assignment and then traded. Matt Guerrier going from the Dodgers to the Cubs. Dodgers also acquired an international signing slot, which has become valuable as a trading chip among teams now.
Yeah, this is his 9th appearance as a Dodger. 9 innings, 7 strikeouts, 6 walks. Well, not a whole lot has changed, but still has great stuff.
Runner goes. Fastball in. Echeverria with a stolen base.
Echeverria picks up stolen base number 10. Many times over the years, the different times we've seen Marmol, he'll struggle with the fastball, and the pitch that he can throw for a strike is that big sweeping slider.
You think about many of the people in this ballpark tonight, those that are Cuban, who follow baseball. Here in Little Havana, in a ballpark that's in the neighborhood, a chance to watch Jose Fernandez start, Yasiel Puig for the Dodgers, and Adeiny Echeverria for the Marlins. That's significant stuff.
You're right, Rich, and you know me. I'm one of the first to jump on fans when they don't come out. Fans have stepped up tonight. 27,000 plus. They've seen a great game. They've enjoyed themselves. There's been some energy and some really buzz in the crowd tonight. So, tip of the cap to the fans that are here. And hope the ones that are watching have had as good a time too.
I said it from the outset. You picked a good night to watch the Marlins. The showdown between Rookie of the Year candidates Youngjin Ryu, Jose Fernandez, Yasiel Puig in the house. Busted bat, slow roller. Marisnik runs well, and he's out. Out at first. Gonzalez forgot how many outs there were, and he threw back across the diamond unless he felt that the runner was safe. Gonzalez threw across the diamond. That's a question for tomorrow. Giancarlo Stanton lights it up, and the Marlins pile on with 3 runs in the 8th. Who was up needs some work, and here he is. Cishek quiet certainly over the weekend until Sunday. And once Sunday hit, Cishek yesterday coming in, picking up his 27th save. This obviously not a save situation.
But I think no need to sit him down. He was ready, and because his workload hasn't been that heavy lately, go ahead and get him out there.
Yeah, I mean, as a manager, you heat your closer up, you might as well use him, because the pitches that he throws to get warm certainly count in his workload. Cishek, who always reads the biblical passage before he starts his inning. And he starts with Mark Ellis. Nice job by the bullpen. A.J. Ramos and Chad Qualls both had tough innings in tough spots of the order. Ramos had the top of the order, gave up just a single to Adrian Gonzalez. Qualls came in at Andre Ethier, and he went 1-2-3, including finished the inning by getting Juan Uribe, who was 3 for 3 before that at bat. Cishek zings one in. It's 0-2. Liner, Solano's got it, 1 out. AT&T U-verse presenting our interactive poll. Poll question arrives. Has the resurgence surprised you? Hashtag yes at 57%. I think the slow start was a surprise. They've righted the ship. The only question is, can they keep this pace up?
You know, I don't think they can keep a 42-9 pace up, but if they play 500 ball, they'll win well over 90 games. But I think they're at a point now where they might start thinking about home field advantage.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez talked about that in Atlanta a week and a half ago when the Marlins were through there, and that a month and a half to go, and the Braves were up by 15. At that point, I think it was 15 and a half games.
The Pirates come into play 72 wins. The Dodgers 72-51. The Braves 76-48.
And their lead is 15 and a half. Nice swing by Skip Schumacher. Yelich is there, and he runs it down. 2 loud outs from Cishek. Line drive outs. Coming up, Marlins Live postgame show presented by Checkers. Lots to like about this one, including Jeff Conine and his game face out there in center field.
Look at Niner get it wired up out there. A lot of stuff to talk about.
It's like Superman putting his cape on. That's a fair ball down the line. Carl Crawford has got a hit. Yelich picks it up. Crawford easily in with a double.
A little part of this team that we haven't touched on, the Dodgers, with Schumacher pinch hitting, is they also have a very good and veteran bench. A guy like a Skip Schumacher, Jerry Hairston, Nick Punto.
That's a great point.
Punto did a great job when Hanley was on the DL.
Those are all versatile, good players that can really help you in the National League. Yasiel Puig's night is an 0 for 4 night. A contentious strikeout in the 5th, in which he barked at John Hirschbeck, who barked right back. Puig goes after a breaking ball, hits it down the right field line towards the corner, and foul. Hernandez still agonizing on every pitch.
That's amazing. He's the #1 fan once he gets out of the game.
And this is his game to win.
Well, we told you he beat the Dodgers back in May in LA.
His ERA is down to 2.41. 1 ball, 1 strike. A pair of Cubans whose path to the major leagues very different. Puig in Cuba long enough to play in their major league over there.
His path not as well documented as Jose Fernandez.
Fernandez, of course, getting over here at 15 and then going to high school for 3 years. Puig to center. It's hit well. Marisnik back. He's there, and he makes the catch. And Miami beats the Dodgers. The first time Alvarez and Fernandez, the first time the Dodgers have lost consecutive games since mid-June. That's a long time. And the Marlins beat him here after the Dodgers lost yesterday in Philly. A frozen rope homer by Stanton. A terrific night for Jose Fernandez. And on a big night in Little Havana, the Marlins take down the Dodgers. 6-2 the final. Back to wrap it up.